In our last episode, Blister. Because, see, Blister was the name of the first marked man we fought. I guess you could say he's the boss of Hopeville. But he's a pretty pathetic boss because he was no challenge at all. He's the one that was carrying the flamer. And right now I'm wearing his unique mask, which he dropped when he died. And I'm over encumbered, apparently. As you can see, hardcore and very hard, as usual. And here, this fire truck, which the marked men were standing on, you can see it says Searchlight. And here you can see his mask if you want to. And I don't really look like Rambo, but whatever, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you... It doesn't matter if you look like Rambo, it matters if you act like Rambo. And just gonna go around and loot these corpses from the last battle. I'm gonna fast forward through all this inventory management, otherwise it would be incredibly boring. I'm not gonna explore all this just yet. I'm just looking for corpses that from the marked men. I think I looted some of them in the last episode. Yeah, I looted him. Here, this is Blister's flamer. Now it's broken, as you can see. I can't even use it. But if you've played this game before, then you know that what comes immediately after this area... I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't played the game before, but those who have played, you know what sort of enemies come next. And the flamer, Blister's flamer, I think that he has it. That's like a clue that, or you're supposed to use it against those enemies. The game is designed to like give you a good weapon. And this stuff here, when I was watching the last episode, I had looted it before, but then I died, so I gotta go back and get this stuff. This here is a good spot to store stuff, because conveniently you have a workbench and a reloading bench right nearby. So it would be a good idea to store all your stuff right in these crates. However, Eddie... with the right upgrades, Eddie can do all of that stuff. Of course, as you can see, my repair skill is too low to do any of this stuff anyway. I'd have to invest into it. And considering I'm only going to have so many levels before the DLC ends, I'm not sure if I want to or not. It would be useful to be able to craft ammo, because I could certainly use it. But, I don't know. And yeah, I do a lot of inventory management, as you can see, and I just fast forward through it all so I don't bore you too much. This is like 10x speed, I think. So imagine this being 10 times longer and how boring that would be. Of course, I could just cut it out entirely, but then... you don't know what I might be doing behind the scenes, and I don't want there to be any doubt that I did this all legit, you know what I mean? Because it is a challenge run. If it was just a Let's Play, like the Dale Gribble Let's Play, then I guess I could just cut it out entirely, but since it's a challenge run, you know, I don't want there to be any doubt about it. So apparently I didn't loot that stuff before, and I'm going back into the silo real quick because now I have a bobby pin, and I can go down to the very bottom of the silo and loot and hack into the lock of that very easy lock. Now, very easy locks, you can pick them even if you have no skill at all. At 0 skill, you can pick a very easy lock. Easy locks, however, take 25 skill. Apparently there was a flamer fuel here for some reason. And I couldn't do it before because I didn't have the bobby pins. And that was the only reason, because I dropped them at Doc Mitchell's house. But since then I found some more, so... And this is what was in there. Was it worth going all the way back for that stuff? I don't know, but there it is. And there was also a toolbox. I noticed when I was watching the... Actually, I got a locksmith's reader. I could, in theory, crack into this now. If nothing else, I get some XP, and here is some silo security codes for the second level of the silo. And plus I leveled up, so it was worth it for the experience, if nothing else. So I wanted to have my survival at 45, so I could grab that old world gourmet perk. But I just didn't do it in time, so I missed out on that. But I'll do it right now. And somebody asked in a comment, why do you invest into survival skill? Well, for one thing, Rambo, he's a survival guy, right? So for role-playing purposes, it makes sense that Rambo would have survival as a tagged skill. But second, in addition to that, survival is a very useful skill when you're playing on hardcore mode. See all this food and stuff? That's your healing stuff, basically. And the higher your survival skill, the more the food heals you. So it's plus the more nutrition and all that from food and water and all that. So if you play on hardcore mode, survival is very useful. Now what I'm trying to do right now, I took some mentats and read a Programmer's Digest. I'm going to hack into this, which I couldn't do earlier. There's just some loot in there that's nothing I necessarily need, but I'd like to get it if possible. And also, you know, you get experience from hacking, so it's worth doing. Now, the first thing you want to do when you do these mini games is look for the ability to remove the duds. You should do this. This should be the first thing you do to get rid of as many as possible. There's also an allowance replenish sometimes that gives you more attempts. But I don't know how to tell the difference between the allowance replenishes and the dud removals. If anybody knows, please let me know, because they all seem the same to me. Now I just go around with the cursor and hopefully I don't miss any, but it's possible. It looks like I got as many as I can find. Now I like to start out with INGs. If that's usually how I like to start it out. Now this one, 4 of the letters match with the, but it's not that, so that helps narrow it down. Don't think it's that one. This one, it looks like it could be this one. There's 4. Yep, it is. I'm pretty good at these hacking games, but you know what is even better hacking game? If you guys ever play Alpha Protocol, there's I'd say there's a better computer hacking in that game than in Fallout. But the one in Fallout's okay in my opinion. Now, see, I could have got a nail gun early on here. I think the first one I did get was by that locked gate. But I could have got it one right in here if I had been able to lock pick in. I don't think there's any necessarily wrong way to do these challenges. I mean, you could build your character to be a lock-picking character, maybe, and you get a lot of loot and stuff that you otherwise wouldn't get. So that's probably a viable way to do this challenge also. I'd say there's no necessarily wrong way to do it, except maybe sneak, because I think sneak is broken for some reason. So if you invested into sneak, you probably are going to have a really tough time, because in my experience, you're always in caution. And it just doesn't... I can get in here now, too. Whereas I couldn't earlier. Nothing really worth it, but at least there's experience, if nothing else. And, you know, I'm thinking maybe I should invest just enough points into my lockpicking skill just to get... so I can start to do the easy ones. Because it might pay for itself. The amount of experience you can get from picking the easy locks, it might be worth the investment. If it helps me level up just a single time, then it would pay for itself. Now, outside of the silo, where we first started the DLC, there was something I missed. And I don't know if anybody who was watching the video noticed this, but I noticed it, and the obsessive compulsive nature that I have makes me want to go back and grab it. And it's right here. See that toolbox there at the end? This is really precarious, by the way. Could you imagine doing this in real life? Standing on this over a cliff? Again, this is like that movie Cliffhanger. Pretty good movie, by the way. Not terrible, but not the greatest either. But it's an okay movie. Not as good as Rambo, I'd say, but... And there was probably some other easy containers back further that I missed, but I don't know. That magazine I read's gonna be wearing off soon if it hasn't already. So I'm gonna try to see if I can find any easy locks real quick. Now the beer's worn off. And that was my strength. So I'm gonna have to unload on Eddie here. If you're ever over encumbered in this game, you can just drink a beer and that'll boost your strength up by a point or two, and that will allow you to carry more. Alright, so I can put that silo password in here to deactivate the robot security. But the thing is, I already killed the robot, so there's no reason to do this, but... Let's fast forward through all this. And one other thing. Logan Looker left a comment saying I should grab one of those bedroll things, sleeping bag, whatever you call it. And there is one up here, which I didn't miss in the first episode, or was it the second? I don't know. But anyway, I didn't go up here. And also, here is a sniper rifle in this crate here. it's in terrible condition, as you can see, and you only get 11 rounds, but... And here's the bedroll, by the way. It allows you to sleep just about anywhere out under the stars. Select it in your Pip-Boy and sleep your cares away. Now, it weighs 10 pounds, though. And so I'm over encumbered now. But let's go ahead and try it out real quick. Let's get 8 hours, because that's what is recommended. And now we are in daylight, which would be ideal time for sniping. We're over encumbered, so I can't jump on that car like I'd want to, but I'm gonna have to creep over here. And as you can see, this is a great vantage point where you could take some pot shots at those two marked men that are over here. See, there's usually one by that howitzer, and then there's another one somewhere over there. So this is a very viable way of doing it also. If you want to be a sniper, this would be like incredibly easy to do it this way. But the sniper rifle is in bad condition, though. So I don't know if you could necessarily kill him outright with one shot, but you could definitely do some damage. And I forgot to loot back here also. There's just some Nuka-Cola, nothing really spectacular or anything, but I just wanted to grab that. And of course this vending machine. I think you could jump on those crates and get on the roof too if you wanted to, but I've already been up there. I'm just running around, wandering aimlessly. And here's Rogue again, making another cameo in my video. But I just wanted to go in here to grab a drink, get my H2O level down. The mirror's broken. Rogue probably smashed the mirror before he shot himself. I don't know why he would do something like that, but yeah, I accidentally hit the X button here and I looted the entire desk, so that isn't very fun. Now I gotta sort all this crap out again. But hey, that's what the fast forward is for, right? I just want to see if I can take a shortcut over there, and no, I cannot. However, if I can get on this armory, on the roof of it, maybe I can jump over. I just wanted to test this out here to see if I could do it. And, yep, you can. If you want to go over here this way, you can. Although it's probably not the best way to do it. And I'm just looting some other stuff here that I missed. Especially this crate with the red glare, because that's worth a lot of money. I don't intend to use it, but I could really use the caps from selling it, so there's no way I'm leaving that behind. I think there's two red glares. There's the one that the scripted marked man carries, plus there's that one laying on the crate or whatever. So I think there's two. Plus maybe you can buy them in the commissary. I'm not sure on that, but I think there's those two for sure, but other than that, I think it's not. So it's not a unique item, but it's an extremely rare item because you only have these two basically, and that's it. Now, for some reason, the markmen that come running up there, they never seem to grab the one that's laying there. Maybe it's because they're melee characters or something. I don't know. And these grenades and stuff, that's good money to resell it, even if you don't use it. Even if you don't use grenades, you should always grab them just for the money you can make from selling them, you know. And here's another thing where the survival skill comes in handy, because you can craft items such as this rushing water. Gives you a 20% attack speed. It's extremely useful if you're a melee character. I don't know if it has any benefit if you're with guns or any other kind of weapon, but it definitely helps with your melee attack for sure. 20% extra speed. Definitely a good thing to have. Yeah, I canceled the transaction there, and I read the Salesman Weekly because this is going to be a huge transaction, so the extra barter skill will help me get a better value. For some reason, the commissary is affected by barter skill. It's like a merchant, even though it's a machine. So having good barter skill will help you somewhat in this DLC as far as with the commissaries, but that being said, I wouldn't consider it very useful skill, especially when you're doing a challenge like this. It's not something you can use to help with anything as far as the fights go or anything. You can't talk. I don't think barter works with Ulysses or anything like that. But with the commissary, sure, you get a benefit there. Now, I was just trying to get up here. I don't think there's anything up there, but I was just trying to check it out real quick. Now, these fire trucks, they say searchlight on them. And that is because Obsidian was reusing the searchlight fire truck from the vanilla game. Searchlight was that place, that town that got obliterated by the Legion when they like set off a nuke. So why would a fire truck from all the way over there be here? That is a reuse of assets by Obsidian. Now remember, Oxhorn slammed Obsidian over the BOS folder that was caused by his mod. That was wrong. That was his fault. However, in this case, that fire truck is a reuse of an asset, but considering that Obsidian only had 18 months to make the entire game, I think that having Searchlight, reusing a Searchlight truck, you know, that I don't think that they should be judged too harshly for that, considering the limited time that they had. You know what I mean? Then again, another possibility is maybe there's some canonical explanation for a Searchlight fire truck being all the way out here. I doubt it, but it's possible. But Obsidian only had 18 months to make the entire game, and this was the very last DLC they made before the development shut down. So this DLC has a lot of, I'd say, quirks and bugs and such, because it was the very last thing that was made, and they didn't have enough time to balance it properly. Like things like the satchel charges, even if you have maximum explosive skill, it's almost impossible to disarm them. So, and many a true nerd talked about that in his video. When he talked about the satchel charges, he's right. They are not balanced properly. And that was because this DLC was the last thing that was developed, and there was no time after that to balance it out properly, you know. But that's not Obsidian's fault, though. They're not the ones that decide when development ends, or you know what I mean. They operated on the schedule Bethesda gave them. That wasn't their decision. Bethesda was the one that was paying for it, you know, that they were the publisher. Now, you want to go down here and grab these crates and this first aid box. It's easy to miss this stuff, but well, I guess it wasn't that great stuff as I thought it'd be, but nevertheless, it's something. I think this loot's kind of random, so sometimes you can get better luck, I'd say. But it wasn't that amazing this time. Now over here, there is something else you'd want to get. You have to get... Right now I'm just looking around. There's nothing there, by the way, but I was just making sure. But you want to get over here, basically. Jump on that platform. Go up these stairs, and there's a secret hidden box up here, and you'll see shortly, right here. And inside is another one of those shoulder-mounted machine guns, and it's got great value, even if you don't intend to use it, or if you already have one. It's still worth grabbing for the caps, like I said. Of course, it weighs a lot, so now I'm over encumbered. So I'm gonna have to, and Eddie can't get up here, so I'm gonna have to use some careful trickery to try to get it down. If you drop an item and you grab it, then you can carry it that way, and it won't affect your movement speed. So I should be able to get up here now. But now I can't. Now I gotta do it again to get down there. Now I think normally you might not have this gun, but the reason I already had it was because I went into the women's barracks, and the two marked men that spawned in both had one. I think it's random what sort of weapons they carry, but it just so happened that they both were carrying that in my game. But your results might vary. But you can definitely get one right there if you need to. However, that comes after the fight with blisters, so... here's Rogue Internet Man yet again. And this time, he's got a duffel bag. I don't know how Rogue got all the way over here, but I guess he's kind of like Victor. He's going to show up at various points throughout the DLC to drop in on us. And I'm going to have Eddie repair up my SMMG real quick, because he can do that once a day, so make sure you take advantage of that. And that garbage can right there just had garbage, unsurprisingly. Now, it would be faster to fast travel rather than run all the way back, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. However, the fast travel function in this DLC is somewhat bugged, and the game can crash when you fast travel. Especially, I noticed when you fast travel, when you're heavily encumbered and you're using like alcohol and stuff to boost your strength, if you fast travel, the game will often crash. And my theory is it's because the chems or whatever wear off during the fast travel, so then you're like over encumbered, and then the game just can't deal with that, and then it crashes. That's my theory anyway. Now, anybody who's played this before knows what's coming up here, but I'm not going to spoil it.
I don't believe it. Grant actually went to Colonel Autumn and got approval for her damned efficiency guidelines. All experiments will be carried out with the test subject fully active to reduce iteration time. It's barbaric. I've explained this to the Colonel. Just because the iBots don't have true AI doesn't mean they're just machines. I guess results are all that matter around here. Forget things like ethical procedures or humane treatment. I'm starting to have serious misgivings about leadership around here. At least I've got you to talk to, huh, Eddie?
Wetland was really protective of his iBots, huh? He sounds more like a father than an inventor in those logs. He must have tried to change things. He doesn't seem like the type to let it slide. I can't believe they'd approve that. I've met enough robots to know they're more than just machines. I hope those bastards get what was coming to them. I can see why you left that place then. Let's press on. We've got a lot of ground to cover.
Okay. Now Eddie is scared, and that growling may have something to do with it. Let's run ahead and see if we can... Oh dear. A tunneler. Wonder what the hell that is. Looks like something from the land of the lost. You can go home, courier. That was left by Ulysses, who somehow managed to get through this area despite the tunnelers. And here's a guaranteed spawn of a nail gun, which this NCR trooper must have been using, but it didn't work out very well for him. Just a regular kitchen knife, which wouldn't help him very much. and I'll take his dog tag, I guess. I can't really do anything with it. But if I somehow get out of here, I will give it to his loved ones or whatever. Now here's a dead Deathclaw. The hand is worth 75 caps and only weighs a pound, so it's definitely worth grabbing. And here is Rogue Internet Man again with a duffel bag. He saw the whole thing, but he doesn't want to tell us about what happened. I think he's too traumatized. But anyway, like I said, the what you see there, it implies that the tunnelers killed that Deathclaw and that they are stronger than the Deathclaw. Well, I know from experience that this is not true. Maybe a swarm of them is tougher than a Deathclaw, but... And here, one of those contraptions, one of those shotgun traps. I don't know why it's there. I don't have any mods which put it there. It's in the vanilla games. I'm not sure why it's there like that. Somebody either set up a trap at some point or was going to or something. I don't know. Anyway, if you go down in here, there's one of the Ralphie posters, if you care about getting them. And Eddie will be excited about it, as you can see. And here's some pork and beans. This was a trailer full of pork and beans. So you could imagine the whoever was eating all this must have been very flatulent. And that might explain why this whole place exploded. Because somebody ate the beans, and then they farted, and then somebody lit a match, and then kaboom. Okay, our whiskey wore off, and now we are encumbered. It's all those pork and beans I grabbed. I mean, if you're desperate for food, that's something, but, Eddie can carry the Deathclaw hand. And these tunneler hides, they have a decent value to weight ratio. You can't actually do anything with them, though. I have a theory that Obsidian might have initially planned for the tunneler hides to be used for some sort of crafting purpose, but it just never worked out. They didn't have enough time, so there's nothing you can do with them other than sell them. For some reason, the commissary will buy them, as if it would know the value of those things. And here's a dead trooper and a ranger. The rangers have a hat which does absolutely nothing, as you can see. There's no... The ranger hats do absolutely nothing. There's no damage protection, no bonuses. They don't weigh anything. They're just basically cosmetic. I'm not sure if that's the way it should be. I would say they probably should give a perception bonus, if nothing else, like many other hats do. But that's just my opinion. Okay, here's Rogue Internet Man again. Like I said, he's going to keep making cameos throughout the DLC. He's like Victor, you know. He's going to keep showing up along the way. Now here's some crates here that it's easy to miss this, but definitely worth grabbing. When you're doing this survival run, you want to get everything you can get. And you can make your way up here, though there's really not much point to. Although, that being said, maybe this would be a good place to good vantage point for taking on the tunnelers, I guess. That's a strategy I didn't consider, but if anybody else does this challenge, they could try it, I guess. And I'm going to go ahead and save because it's going to get really hard in a moment. Now, taking on one tunneler at a time is no big deal, but against a swarm of them, it's easy to get overwhelmed. As you can see, I'm going to end up dead here shortly. I'm going to try to heal my way out of it, but this is hardcore mode, and those stim packs heal over time, so one more swipe, I'm dead. Unless I can evade their attacks long enough to get my health up. Nope, just like I thought. Now, according to the lore, these tunnelers are supposed to be afraid of bright light and loud noises. So you'd think that a fire weapon, you'd think they'd be afraid of fire, but that's really not the case, other than the flare gun. This shish kebab, it doesn't have any special effect against them, like you might think. Nor does the flamer. That move I did there, that's the flambe move, the special attack which the shish kebab has. You can do it in VATS if you have high enough skill, but you can also perform it manually outside of VATS. I think it's by doing a power attack while moving forward, if I'm not mistaken. Oh shit, I backed myself into the corner here. That's what makes this so hard here, because you want to keep back away from them, but unless you back up in the right direction, you're going to get into a corner and then you can't get away from them. And that's what happened here. I've done this challenge once before, and I've had the same exact problem. Okay, the head is crippled, but that doesn't actually mean anything because their head doesn't really mean anything. See, the tunnelers, there is no... Yeah, I'm dead. But anyway, like I was saying, there is no point in targeting the head of tunnelers because there's no damage multiplier against the head like there is with almost every other enemy. The tunnelers and the ghost people in Dead Money are the only exceptions I'm aware of offhand where there's no point in targeting the head specifically. I think if you cripple it, it'll damage their perception or something, but it doesn't make killing them any easier. So if you target anything, it makes more sense to target the limbs. To cripple the legs to slow them down, or cripple the hands, the arms, to reduce their damage. Yeah, that's what one hit did. And that's just the regular tunneler, by the way. The hulking ones are have a lot more powerful hits. Basically, about as powerful as a Deathclaw, I'd say. Which I guess is ironic, considering I was just talking about how Deathclaws are more powerful. But the thing about Deathclaws is they're like tanks. They have 15 damage threshold. So it's like they're wearing combat armor. And they have a mountain of hit points on top of that. So they take a lot of... takes a lot to bring a Deathclaw down. And we will get to the Deathclaws in due time. But these guys, they don't have any damage threshold whatsoever. So if you happen to have hollow point rounds, it's very effective to use them against the tunnelers. And these things are also very effective. It will drive them into a frenzy, for one thing. Cause them to fight each other. That's very useful. The venomous ones, they will poison you if they hit you, and you'll take damage over time, just like with a Cazador sting. I don't think it's as bad as a Cazador, though. But they also hit really hard too. That's another thing. And I don't have any anti-venom to deal with it. However, with the buffalo gourd seeds and surgical tubing, you can create a snakebite tourniquet, which is good when fighting those venomous tunnelers because it will automatically apply itself when you get the venom injected into you. It will automatically remove it if you happen to have a snakebite tourniquet in your inventory. So that's another thing that survival skill is good for, because it allows you to craft that at a campfire. I don't have a lot of these 10mm rounds. The commissary sells them, but it doesn't restock very often. Now, like I was saying earlier about the lockpicking skill and how investing into it might be a viable path, well, that safe there is something you would be able to get into if you manage to get it up to 75, which obviously I'm not going to be able to do in this playthrough, but you would be able to get in there and get some stuff which might help you along. I don't know what's in there, by the way. I'm sure I've gotten into it before, but I just can't recall offhand. Could be something extremely useful, or could just be, I don't know. I bet you it's something good, because it wouldn't be a hard lock if it wasn't. Anyway, I'm strongly considering getting my lockpick up to at least 25. And probably no higher than that. Because I'm missing out on a lot of stuff which I could probably use. But I'm only going to get so many skill points before all is said and done, so I don't want to get too ridiculous about it. Here is another one of those searchlight fire trucks. My theory is that they were on their way to a fireman convention in California when this tunnel exploded. Ulysses blames Courier 6 for the destruction, but I think whoever ate the pork and beans is responsible. Now, if you go up here, here is a duffel bag, which is one of the things you can find by searching around. It reminds me of playing Super Mario 64 back in the day and how you could find stuff like that by exploring around. Now this guy's got a butter knife for some reason. I don't know how you would explain them having a butter knife. It reminds me of Victor and how when you meet him, he says, "Well, butter my bun and call me a biscuit." Well, I have a theory that Victor probably went down the Lonesome road at some point and he had a talk with the tunnelers and he told them to butter his bun and call him a biscuit. And the tunnelers probably took that literally. So they started finding butter knives. So the next time they met Victor, they would be able to butter his bun, just like he said. Of course, that's just a theory. I don't know how else you would explain them having a butter knife. Sometimes you also find them having teddy bears. Which... Ah, there's Rogue Internet Man again. Hey, Rogue. Rogue, I guess he's shy and he just doesn't want to say anything. But this was obviously a Sunset Sarsaparilla trailer. Probably one driven by Festus. Festus is mentioned in the lore as someone who drives the Sunset Sarsaparilla trucks around. It's a different Festus than the animatron that you meet at the Sunset Sarsaparilla headquarters. Now I'll probably talk about that in the lore video or something at some point. I don't know, but there is a different Festus who drives the trucks supposedly. And maybe that was one of the trucks right there. Who knows? But it's a way of explaining how the vending machines keep getting restocked. Because there's some robot or something driving around and restocking everything. Now, like I said, there's not really any point in targeting the head. The legs, however, if you can cripple them, then all the better. Now, what I don't like is when they go down those tunnels and they pop back up, all the damage they took is fully healed, and then you gotta fight them all over again at full health. I don't like that. But the good thing is when you do kill them, they don't seem to respawn. So you can clear this area out, and unless I'm mistaken, I think this area stays cleared out for the rest of the game. Not that there's really any point coming back here after you do, but... Oh shit, Eddie's down. So this is going to get hard for me right here. Because I don't have any cover. But as long as there's only the one, maybe I can take him. I really wanted to get that old World Gourmet perk because the junk food will heal a lot better if you have it, and also certain kinds of alcohol become basically as good as stim packs. Yeah, see, he's going down, and when he pops back up again, he's going to be at full health. And now I got a bunch more of these assholes. So I'm probably basically screwed here, unless I can frenzy him. I'm stuck on the... I can't get out of here. I'm gonna eat some of that pork and beans, which is weighing me down because each one weighs a pound, so it adds up. I don't think pork and beans is good healing, but you gotta take what you can get when you're doing a survival run like this. One thing that sucks about that Bowie knife is it extremely short range. Now, I didn't want to say too much about Matun in this episode because people got on my case about being too harsh on him or whatever, but I will say one thing, and I didn't like how he ran through this whole area rather than fight the enemies head on. Now, I'll go ahead and show you a clip from his video where he ran through this area like a coward.
Let's just get out of here, shall we? Start flipping running. Do not, if one of them's basically spawning, you can get behind it, just basically run.
This disgusting level of cowardice isn't surprising considering the source. Matun tried to defend the bad game design of Fallout 3 by saying you can run away from the guard at the start of the game as an alternative to killing him. This was oxhorn level of stupidity coming from his mouth. Well, fortunately, a YouTuber by the name of Kretosis Gaming has finally made a video debunking this bullshit. Matun got his shit pushed in by facts and logic. Okay, he's gonna go down the hole and heal up. Alright, Eddie's down. I'm stuck. I died right where Eddie died. That will increase my attack speed, and whiskey will increase my strength, which is great when you're a melee character. So that's one thing alcohol is good for. already looted that. I'm not sure why I went back in there. Okay, there's some toxic waste barrels. Probably was being transported on one of these trucks that got obliterated. Eddie went down fast. These guys hit hard. Okay, throwing it off that car. That's a trick I learned in Call of Duty. You can bounce grenades off stuff in front of you as you run, and it will go back and hopefully take out the enemies. That was something I learned in the Zombies when I used to play that. It's kind of fighting the tunnelers is kind of the same thing as the Call of Duty Zombies, because you gotta keep your distance. They kill you in like 1 or 2 swipes, just like those zombies do. I don't have a clue what these things are supposed to be. They could be humans that have been mutated somehow, or they could be something that lives, that has always been living underground, like since the time of the dinosaurs, maybe. Okay, I'm stuck. Probably gonna die here. Gonna eat some cave fungus. See, these things often have cave fungus in their inventory, so that seems to suggest that's what they eat. I'm guessing something that grows in their subterranean world. Now these things are, the tunnelers are never properly explained, but my guess is that they've always existed. Okay, I'm getting my ass kicked here. Yeah, there was no way I went. That's why the Stonewall perk is a great perk if you're a melee guy, because you don't get knocked down like that. Once you get knocked down, you can get stuck in a situation where you can't get back up again because you keep getting in a loop where you're constantly knocked down over and over again. So you can, in situations where you would otherwise be fine, you end up getting killed where you normally wouldn't. And that's what makes the Stonewall perk really good, because it makes you immune to being knocked down. And in addition, it also gives you +5 DT against melee and unarmed attacks, which of course obviously would be extremely helpful to have right here, but I think that's not available until level 8, I think. I'm level 6 right now, I think. So I'm a little bit away from that. I should be able to have...
I've fallen, and I can't get up!
We're sending help immediately, Mrs. Fletcher.
If you are wondering what that was, it's a soundbite from a commercial from back in the 90s. which was kind of like a meme back in those days, because the internet didn't really exist back then. So back in those days, you had to get your memes from commercials and such on TV. But that was kind of funny, I guess. It shouldn't have been as funny as it was. I guess it shouldn't be funny, but it's not something you should laugh at, but it was funny nevertheless. And it was a big deal at the time. I hate how they can fully heal themselves up by going down those holes and popping back up again. Conditions getting low on this nail gun. I've fired so many rounds, so it's not a surprise. Plus, I got that built to destroy trait, which makes me destroy things at a faster rate. So, yeah. Okay, this area here, it's relatively open and there's not so much obstacles to get stuck on. So I should be able to run around in a circle to keep a distance. I should have better luck here than I did back in those other areas where it was so obstructed. And this is probably something I should have done to start with. I should have lured him back here where I could do that more easily, rather than try to fight him over there. That was a mistake on my part. And the good thing about the fire is when you set them on fire, they will take damage over time. So you just got to get some hits in and let the fire do its thing. And the good thing about this shish kebab is it has further reach than the Bowie knife does. The Bowie knife's reach is cut in half, basically. It's half of a normal melee weapon. So, when you go up against some melee enemy like these tunnelers, it puts you at a disadvantage because their reach is like double. They have double the reach as you do when you use the Bowie knife. Which I guess makes sense because it's not very... It's a knife, it's not a sword or anything, you know. Okay, he's got a butter knife. Again, he's... I'm gonna go ahead and cremate these NCR Rangers and Troopers to give them a proper burial. Because I can't bury them, so I'm gonna cremate them. Now, why is it called cremation when you burn a corpse? Because it has nothing to do with cream, right? Like, you're turning them into ashes. And ashes are like the exact opposite of cream. So, calling it cremation when it has nothing to do with cream is kinda... That's wrong, right? That's not the... It's a misnomer. Alright, I don't want to get trapped in the corner again. See, this is the right way, but it's kind of tricky to back up in that direction. This guy I'm fighting right now, he might be the last one. Hopefully. He's just a basic regular tunneler, but you can see how hard he hits. My armor is busted. Weapons will break and become completely unusable when they get to the worst condition, but as far as armor goes, I think as long as you're wearing it, when the armor breaks, you'll still be wearing it. But I think if you unequip the armor and it's broken, then you can't re-equip it unless you fix it or something. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it's something like that. And unlike the weapons, there is no armor repair kits. So it's not as easy to keep your armor in tip-top shape as it is with the weapons. Now what I'm doing right here is I'm going to see if this NCR armor is better than what I'm wearing. And if it is, then I'll switch to that. But honestly, it isn't. Even though my armor is broken, it's still... Even in this near broken state, it's better than what they were wearing. And apparently my cremation attempt failed, so I could not turn them into ashes. Look at all these butter knives. Like, I guess they're waiting for Victor. Like I said, they're gonna butter his bun, but even though they have the butter knife, they still need the butter, right? Do they have butter? Or what are they gonna do? Do they have like some kind of butter substitute or something? Like margarine? I don't know what goes on down in those caves, the subterranean. They probably have like cave cows or something. Now this is the way out. That's the way the That's where we want to go eventually, but right now I'm going to explore this area and gather as much loot as I can find, because I earned this. I cleared them out, so I have the right to explore. There's this guy died from some reason, and right here is a guaranteed spawn of a flare gun. Now, Matun said that. Oh, look, the teddy bear, and underneath there is a duck and cover, and this will increase our explosive skill permanently by 3. It is underneath a teddy bear. Now, as you may recall in my Easy Pete lore video, which if you haven't seen, I recommend you go watch. In Easy Pete's house, there is a teddy bear, and I commented on that. And Easy Pete, as we all know, is an explosives expert. So, what is the significance of the teddy bear? The explosive book back in that crate was underneath the teddy bear, and Easy Pete had a teddy bear in his house. Is there some kind of connection? Is Easy Pete the one who caused this tunnel to be destroyed? Ulysses blames the courier for the destruction of the divide. But Ulysses is kind of a whack job, and he could be mistaken. Maybe it was Easy Pete who did this. Who can say? Canonically, it isn't. There is no canonical. The courier has no canonical appearance. He could be. Now I'm going to go ahead and save here, because we're going to have a talk with Ulysses here. And as you can see, my speech is terrible. Normally I would put on that general outfit, but it's kind of useless. It has only 1 DT, and immediately after the fight with Ulysses, we're going to enter into combat. So I want to pull out my weapon and have it ready, because there's going to be a fight as soon as we finish this conversation. And it's going to be a long conversation.
There you are. You went quiet for a time, and that signal came in strong from your machine, like a heartbeat. Made your way through old world towns, the tunnels that join them, now the high road. For all you've seen behind you, there's worse along this stretch. Deathclaws hunt the marked men, and they also hunt what burrows below.
What burrows below? You mean those creatures in the underpass?
Tunnelers. Predators that make their own roads beneath the ground here. Divide broke their sky, showed them the world above, and the scent of new prey. Be a slower death for the Mojave than bombs and fire, but they'll come for its people, from where they least expect, below.
When you say slower death for the Mojave, you mean they're spreading out from the divide?
Death will come from below. In the divide, need to watch the sky and the ground. Mojave will be easy prey for them. They'll start emerging throughout the Mojave in time. Might be years, probably less. They breed fast, hunt in groups, more than enough to bring down the strongest in the Mojave, once they draw blood. Seen them tear apart Deathclaws. Deathclaw might get some, but the rest will swarm it, tear it apart, like Denver hounds.
Denver hounds? Denver's far to the east, Legion territory.
Mojave and the Divide are the only places I've walked. Walked the east, too, before the bull came. Then, much like Mojave before the bear, tribes, towns, clutching to life. Bull did a better job.
Some of the flayed Hopeville soldiers look like NCR, but fought besides others in Legion armor.
Pain makes for strange allies. The hate the bear and bull shared across the battlefield now turned against the Divide. Few survived, intact. Many NCR were already here when the destruction happened, keeping the route east open in fear of Kaiser, fear of the Legion.
What do you mean?
The why of it, Hoover Dam. The bear, NCR, couldn't be allowed to reach it easily. Long 15, Cayman, both bad enough. Kimball, Kaiser, House. You'd think their whole world was that wall, cutting the Colorado. If I'd never laid eyes on it, never spoke of it. But once found, it was all Kaiser could see. That, and the flag beyond it, another symbol, big enough to challenge him. And the Divide, one of the roads to it. Legion was tasked with cutting that artery. If you can't kill the bear in one stroke, bleed it, starve it. That kind of murder. It's what any of the Legion would have done. Now, the Divide belongs to history.
Those marked men in Hopeville, some had strange masks and blades I'd never seen before.
They bear false versions of Legate Lemuse's mask. The one Kaiser fashioned for him. Thought it was an insult at first. No better now. It's shaped from Divide metal, not with care and strength, but with hate. Keeps them anchored. Crude, effective, like the blades they carry. Distant mirrors of their legate. A symbol they can hold on to, while the Divide tears at them.
Other marked men had NCR gear, and they weren't carrying masks or blades.
For the two-headed bear, NCR, they don't have symbols in the same way Legion does. They revere their mines and explosives, guns. That is their religion. Death from afar. Take pride in it.
I found some recordings from you in Hopeville.
The tapes. Didn't think those would be found. You know the Divide better than I thought. Had tech from the Big Empty. Recorder a woman gave me. Didn't survive the road. On its last legs. Cast it and the tapes aside. Weren't worth the words anyway. Not like I'd forget what happened. If you heard them. Nothing but ramblings. Reminders for a man who doesn't need them. Probably more lying from here to the Divide.
So, what, they weren't that important then?
Words lost to history. Wouldn't have left them on the road otherwise.
If this is the high road, where does it lead?
At the end of the high road lies Ashton, its silo. That machine I'm with you, it can open it, wake it up, like it did the one in Hopeville.
Something wrong? You sound mad at my robot. When we first spoke in Hopeville, you mentioned you'd sworn not to kill me. Why?
You know the why of it. If you don't, I do. And that's enough. Shows trust only walks so far west. Earned more than that, though, getting this far. We walk the same road, carry the same colors. Can't break that by making the road red. Want more than that? Walk the divide. Answers will come. Closer you get to home. You and that machine.
This road leads nowhere. There's nothing in the divide.
Many in the Mojave think the divide's nothing but canyon and storm. Wasn't always. There was life. A town farther west. Not talking about an old world town like Hopeville. More recent. Something you saw in your lifetime. It had the name, the divide, too. But rather than cracks in the earth, it was a road from the west into the Mojave, a supply line. Took a courier to make that road. You. Back then, you saw the road with eyes facing east. This time, the divide's in the other direction. And if your eyes try to make sense of it when you reach it, home's not what it was.
You keep saying that as if you know where I was born. You don't.
Home isn't where you were born into this world. You taught me that. Part of your message, whether you meant it or not, can be a place of mind, a moment where you know who you are, the history of it, and they can be places you breathe life into. Never would have known the divide had it not been for you. The road you made with your tracks again and again. You were the only one willing to make the journey to and from here. A hard road. Kept the land before the divide alive through seasons, storms. Can't have been just a job. Was something more to you. Don't feel for a place that hard unless it's home.
Whatever you believe happened, you have it wrong.
Wrong. No. I know the truth of it. It was you walking that road that kept the divide alive. It grew from what you did. Settlers, camps, filling that old world city. Chance for a new nation, new beginning, new way of thinking. Could have breathed new life into the Mojave, bridging east, west, like Hoover Dam. But not old world. Something you made. Road was a supply line.
You're still making assumptions about all this.
No. Recounting history. NCR saw the worth in that road you made. Staked a claim, whether it was wanted there or not. True elsewhere in the Mojave. And where the bear tries to cling to life, the Legion comes, bearing messages. Some brought by blade, others by couriers. You knew what was coming, as sure as I know what's coming for you. This time you carry the burden. Walk west into the sun, and keep walking until it dies. There, I'll be waiting.
Okay, we're finally past that. And almost immediately we're going to be in a fight here. there's going to be a guy running up, and he's going to throw a grenade. And if you're smart, you target the grenade and do that. And that pretty much nearly kills him. But there's one more guy right after him, and he is the second named marked man. So this is a pretty tough fight. He's a lot tougher than Blister was. Oh shit! I shouldn't do. Is it moral to eat a corpse during the middle of a battle? I ask you. Well, you have to go through that animation. Thankfully, he was distracted with Eddie, or else I'd probably be dead right there. That's one downside, though, of the cannibal perk, is you get locked into that animation, and you don't want to do that during the middle of a battle, obviously. Now, as you can see, he has some really powerful armor and a mountain of hit points. So we are doing some damage, but it's taking a while. He is like a mini boss, kind of. This is a taste of what the fight with Ulysses is probably going to be like. Oh, now he's targeting me. And as you can see, that didn't go very well. And unfortunately, I didn't save, so we're gonna have to go through that shitty conversation.
There you are.
But I'm just gonna blow through it, and I don't think it matters what you choose per se. Although I think I missed the speech check, so I didn't get the XP. But whatever. I'm not gonna sit through that all again. It's okay, apparently he had 2, and then he's throwing yet another one. But they didn't do any damage, so we're good, I think. Maybe we can shoot that SMMG out of his hands. I don't have a lot of rounds on this, so I'm gonna have to, even though it's nearly broken. Well, maybe Eddie can. We're in danger, so I don't know if he can. Do his repair thing or not. My H2O level is up pretty high right now. Having to sit through Ulysses' long speech, it's no surprise, you know, you get dehydrated having to sit through that. Okay, he's targeting me rather than Eddie. That's not good. Eddie can take the hits. I can't, because I'm severely underleveled for this DLC. However, Eddie is appropriately leveled for it. And as you can see, that does almost nothing. It would be nice to cripple his limbs, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Okay, I'm gonna get my strength up with the beer. It's doing something, but it's... Like I said, he's tough as hell. Blister was a joke, but this guy, he's a beast, as his name suggests. But we prevailed. And he's got human flesh, which is no surprise because everybody's a cannibal in this DLC. Now his mask, it has +2 crit chance, which combined with my luck is very useful, I think. If I went with heavy-handed, as I was considering, it wouldn't be worth it, but... And the Bowie knife has a higher crit chance plus bonus critical damage. It's tied with the proton axe for having the most critical damage of any melee weapon in the game. So if you can land a crit with the Bowie knife, then you're doing pretty good. There's a unique Bowie knife later on in the DLC, which obviously I do want to get. This is just the standard Bowie knife, which isn't as good, but it's still one of the best one-handed melee weapons in the game. Though unfortunately the reach is really bad. Okay, these guys got low-tier weapons that aren't gonna do much harm. That arc welder is good against robots, but I'm not a robot. I might talk like a robot. And that lured him into a false sense of security by making him think that he could take me on because of my robotic way of speaking. However, I am not a robot, so it did not work out very well for him. The flare gun is no good either. And now he is a burnt marshmallow. I'm at full health, but I'm going to eat him anyway, just to assert my dominance. And up ahead, there's another one of those warheads blocking the way forward. And if you look up in the window, you can see Ulysses, who was up there the whole time and was watching everything. From up there at that vantage point, he could probably see us as we exited the collapsed tunnel. And you always want to check these suitcases because there's some pre-war money in them usually, which isn't worth a lot, but it's worth something. Now, when you eat 25 corpses, you get a special perk or something where you can dine and dash, and that lets you take human remains off the corpses, and which you can eat later on. So you gotta eat 25 corpses to do it though, and I guess I'll go around and eat every corpse I find now in order to get that perk. And maybe there's XP for it as well. I'm not sure. It would be great if there was some sort of bonus for eating these named marked men, but apparently not. Now that Bowie knife, I don't know where that came from, but I'll take it. And we can make some more rushing water, which I should have consumed during that fight. It would have helped, probably. But, oh well. And we got beds here, a commissary. I think this is safe storage. You could use this area as temporary housing. The only thing it's lacking is a source of water. Maybe there's water down there, though. But, going down there would probably kill you. So I wouldn't advise it. And I don't think there's any loot or anything over here, but I'm just making sure. Because there could be a duffel bag or who knows what. But I'm not seeing anything. There was just these two, and I already looted them. And nothing over here either. But yeah, this when you leave that collapsed tunnel, it really sucks because first you have to go through that long talk with Ulysses, and then right away you're engaged in combat. And if you die, then you got to go through that conversation all over again. And you can just skip through it, but then you lose like XP and stuff from the speech checks if you don't do it correctly. And I was just checking right there to see if you could eat the corpses of the tunnelers, and the answer is no, you cannot eat the tunnelers. And I didn't think you could, but I just had to make sure. And the reason I'm doing this rather than fast traveling is because the game might crash. You know, if you fast travel, sometimes the game will crash. So, and going back and eating these corpses, this is Blister. Again, there's no bonus for eating him. And this guy was a coward, so I'm going to eat him to assert my dominance. This guy is a Ravager, and I'm ravaging with hunger, so I will eat him as well. A few corpses here. Nom nom nom. Simply delicious. And, of course, there's that cowardly sniper who tried to run away earlier. He tastes just like chicken. Or, another way to put it is he tastes like mutton. Because he tastes like a coward. Like a chicken. Yeah, you can't eat the gore piles, unfortunately. But you can go in here and grab a drink and get some radiation, but that the auto dock easily takes care of that. Ew, I don't want to think about what that is. Like I said, really, really bad constipation or something caused that. And yeah, the commissary very rarely restocks, so when it does, you want to take full advantage of it when you can. It has at most 6,000 caps at a time, and you want to get all the ammo that you use and aid items, of course. I make sure to buy every stim pack and Med-X and all that stuff that I can. Right there's an easy lock. Thankfully, these corpses have not despawned yet. I don't know if they ever do despawn, but I'm going to make sure to eat them while I can. I think I'm about halfway towards the Dine and Dash perk.
Oh, no, 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 no. This isn't fair. Oh, God. No, 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 just go. Go. No, I'm...
I don't know what the deal is there where all this stuff spawned into him. I had already looted this corpse earlier, but this stuff spawned in on his body. I just left it though because I think it would be cheating to loot it and sell it or whatever. I don't want to take advantage of an exploit. But his corpse should be empty, but it's not. And that's some weird bug. It's happened before in other playthroughs I've done. I don't know what causes it or why. Alright, so that's 15 corpses I've eaten. I just got to do 10 more after this. And these are the two dudes that were in here guarding the place.
Nom nom nom. Simply delicious.
Of course, Rogue Internet Man is also in here. He shot himself in the bathroom, and he's laying in a pool of Wendy's ketchup. I wouldn't eat him regardless, but he doesn't have any flesh anyway. Now I'm just going to try to sit him up on the toilet so he can have a little bit of dignity rather than laying in a pool of ketchup. But he's just not cooperating, because even as a skeleton, he's still a huge fat ass, and it's hard as hell to drag him around. But this is an issue with the Gamebryo engine, I've noticed. You try to move these corpses, you can grab a corpse and move it, but sometimes you grab a corpse of a bloatfly or something, and it'll weigh like it's made out of neutronium or something. Like the stuff that neutron stars are made out of. It's impossibly heavy. Okay, he keeps glitching in and out of existence. Now that's the Gamebryo engine right there, folks. Gamebryo, like a holodeck simulation, he keeps popping in and out of existence. I'm trying to drag his ass to the auto dock so I can get him healed up, but he just won't cooperate. I think he wants to spoon with that marked man there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and leave him there. Whatever, you know, I'm not one to judge. If that's what he wants to do, then that's his prerogative, right? Okay, now that we've cleared our inventory out, we can go ahead and fast travel back. I'm confident the game won't crash. It only does that when you're heavily encumbered, I've noticed. So what I was saying back in the tunnels about how there is no canonical appearance for the courier, what I meant was, for all we know, the courier could be an old black male, just like Easy Pete. So it's possible that Ulysses has us mistaken with Easy Pete. Maybe Easy Pete is the one who caused the destruction in the Divide. And maybe, canonically, the courier looks similar to Easy Pete. So maybe Ulysses has us confused. You know what I mean? That's a possibility. Easy Pete is, after all, an explosives expert, so I wouldn't put it past him. And we saw the teddy bear in the crate with the duck and cover below it. That is Easy Pete's calling card right there, because he has a teddy bear in his house. See? And he's got his stockpile of dynamite, so he knows all about explosives. Also, maybe he's the one that ate all the pork and beans, too. And if you ask me, I would say pork and beans should give some sort of explosives bonus when you eat it. It should, like, temporarily... Like, you eat a can of pork and beans, like, your explosive skill should temporarily increase by a few points. And you know why I'm saying that. You know what I mean. So I don't need to explain that. But over here, there's another warhead, and there's some Deathclaws. There's like 3 Deathclaws standing near it. Now, if you're lucky, or if you time it right, where they're standing close to it, you can kill them in the explosion. But that's not what happened here. All 3 of them are still alive. Hopefully they've been damaged, though. Now, these guys take a bajillion bullets before they go down. And I don't even really have a lot of bullets at the moment. However, I do have the flare gun. And that will make them flee. And this becomes really tedious with this doing it on this challenge, because, well, you'll see what I mean here. It's doing all this damage does basically nothing to them. And it's a good strategy to try to cripple their legs so that they can't, so you can keep a distance from them, but crippling them is easier said than done here. Eddie turned him into ashes. That happens when the fatal blow is dealt by energy weapons and the fatal blow is a critical hit, then the enemy will either turn into a pile of ashes or a goo pile, depending on which type of energy weapon was used. That's how it works. It's it can cause some problems though, because like I think enemies that turn into ash piles can never respawn, and those ash piles are there for the rest of the game, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas bodies might normally despawn over time, the ash piles do not. But I guess it can be a good way to permanently remove an enemy from the game, but maybe that's not what you want to do, because maybe you want to farm XP or something. I don't know. I don't think these I don't know if these Deathclaws respawn or not. They may. But it's a pretty long and tedious fight to take them on when you're at this low level, like I am right now. Now imagine trying to clear out Quarry Junction when you're like level 1. That's kind of what this is like. And these Deathclaws in this DLC, they are even tougher. They are even tougher than the ones in the vanilla game. So you can see how this is a real problem here. I think they got like 2,000 hit points or something like that. Plus 15 DT. So yeah, it takes a lot to take them down. And melee isn't really a viable option, even though that's my focus, but they can kill you in like 1 or 2 swipes. The tunnelers are also like that, except the tunnelers don't have the DT and all that, so individually the tunnelers aren't too bad to deal with, but when it comes to the Deathclaws, now there's one you see right there. This guy, he's standing there like an idiot, and I've noticed that in every game I've played. He just stands there like that until you shoot him. Unfortunately, he was outside of the range of that warhead when it exploded. So it's going to take some doing to get him killed. Okay, I gotta get some more flamer fuel. I should have brought more. I underestimated how powerful these Deathclaws are. How they can just absorb damage. You can spend all day going through this section of the road. It's ridiculous. And there's another area up ahead where you gotta fight him again, and the second time you don't have Eddie's help, so it's kinda harder. Although by then you'll have leveled up more, so at least you have that going for you, but still. Eddie can take a few hits before he goes down. You, on the other hand, cannot. These things they kind of like remind me of dinosaurs, like T-Rex or something. And if you think about it, if these things are T-Rexes, then the tunnelers are probably like velociraptors, I guess. I don't know. The tunnelers, they might be like reptilian humanoids or something. I think they're, the tunnelers are like, those things from the Land of the Lost, or, something like that. Finally. And look how low my ammo is now. I had hundreds of rounds when I started this, and but at least I leveled up. Now, lockpick, I'm thinking it might be worth investing to get it up to 25 so I can start doing the easy locks. However, I do want to get my combat skills up also. Now I can get it to, I can do it like this. However, lock picking doesn't give you any bonus at all unless you get it to the specific number you need it to be. So I either get it to 25 or I don't. Otherwise it's not going to benefit me at all until the next time. And I want to get the advantages right away, so I'm going to do it this way. This is the perk I wanted to get earlier, but since I already took Cannibal, maybe that will work in its place. I don't know, but there's 3 perks I really want to get, but they don't appear until level 8, so right now I just need to... There's 3 really great melee perks. One of them is Stonewall, which I mentioned. There's also the Cowboy. Bloody Mess. It gives you 5% extra damage with any weapon. That's never a bad perk to take, and it would help, I'm sure, but I think I'm going to go with Toughness. Because you saw how I keep dying a lot. I keep getting killed constantly. And the extra 3 damage threshold will help me stay alive a little bit better. And you can take this perk twice for a total of 6 damage threshold, but and I would definitely like to have that, but I don't know if I mean, I expect this DLC to... I'll make it to like level 13, maybe 14 before all is said and done. So I'm not really going to have too many more perks left. I gotta be very careful in how I use them. Now this is the Survivor's Footlocker, and as far as I know, it's never explained who the survivor was. But as you can see, they have marked trooper armor, which is NCR armor. So I'm guessing whoever the survivor is someone, one of the NCR people. And the mystery is what happened to him. Where is this survivor now? Is he dead? Is he somewhere out there where we never meet him? I don't know. In Honest Hearts, there is the survival list, but this is the survivor. It's somebody completely different. Considering the distances involved, I don't think there could be any way that they're related to one another, but I do recall that in Ulysses could be the survivor, now that I think about it, but I'm not sure on that. Now right here we have another one of those bedrolls and a broken down motorcycle. Now if you've ever watched the Making of New Vegas documentary, Jsawyer talks about how he rode his motorcycle around the Mojave to get inspiration when making the game. So when I see that broken down motorcycle there, I'm reminded of Jsawyer and his adventure around the Mojave, and maybe that's put there as a reference to that. I don't know, but yeah, I wonder what's in there. It's got one of those you see that red, one of Ulysses' red markers right there? That is a warning to mark danger. But of course you can look in there and you don't see anything. So what's so dangerous about going in there? I wonder. Well, if you ever played this game, you'll know what's in there, but you'll know what happens. But right now, let's we're pretty well encumbered right here, so we're gonna need to sort ourselves out shortly. There is a place above us which it's possible to miss, but I think a lot of people might miss this somewhat secret area. I'm gonna have Eddie wait here, and I'm gonna save. And the area. Now here's a bed if you need another place to sleep. Great, I could definitely use those 80 rounds. Now there's one of Ulysses' blue symbols. You saw the red one on that camper trailer, but the blue, I think, means like a hidden stash or something. But anyway, this is how you get up here. There's arrows directing you to head up. I think a lot of people might miss this area on their first attempt. Now you can see right ahead there is one of those satchels, and even if you have 100 100 explosive skill, they are extremely difficult to disarm. Here's another one. Unfortunately, by blowing it up, it's going to scatter items around and make it harder to get everything, but it's necessary because there's no way to disarm them. Even if you have 100 explosive skill, even Easy Pete himself would probably have a hard time disarming those satchels. And I think that they were left by Ulysses. However, they may have been left by someone over here. This guy. Right there. He might have left the satchels. He's a sniper, and as you can see, he has advanced riot gear, armor, and a helmet. Now this is better than any armor that I've gotten so far. And as you can see, you can eat his corpse. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. He has been at least partially, if not fully, ghoulified. So I can't imagine him tasting particularly good, but I've been eating marked men, so what's the difference, right? Now, I've disarmed that satchel, or I mean I exploded it, so it's safe to move forward now. But items have been scattered about. There's a bedroll, of course. And you can fast travel up here, by the way, which is easier than heading up the regular way. And some medics and some magazines and stuff. It's definitely worth grabbing. Of course, we're over encumbered now, but you know, in hindsight, I probably should have took Eddie up so I could pack him with all his crap. And there's a sniper rifle. I think that was the one used by that NCR dude. Now, the question is, how did that NCR dude die? He's dead, but how did he die? I don't think it's explained. Now, here's one of those snakebite tourniquets I told you about. And I can go ahead and make that. And here is the third of Ulysses logs. And one of those Ralphie posters, if you care. I found 8 of 20 of them. I'm going to go ahead and play the tape. And here's the note about the flashbangs, if anyone was interested. And the orders of Bravo team.
Big, empty. There's something hidden there. A crater. Past wind and sand. So deep in the desert, there's no turning back. Finding the crater was an accident. Was following the weather patterns. The divide sky torn like that. Man's violence, not nature's. That violence in the sky had a source. Tracked it, like following a river current. Left the colors to mark my way, like always. In case someone finds them, learns the pattern. The courier might. But I thought sand and wind would never end. Came to the crater. And there was an old world facility. A weather station at the edge, still raking the sky with electricity and generators. And beyond it, saw the rest of the old world hell there, all carved up like garden plots. Had to see what was there, couldn't leave it be. Things asleep in the big empty, the Brotherhood woke them up. Can't move quiet any more than the two-headed bear can. And when they woke up, it was like all of history waking up at once. Almost didn't make it out. Almost. Left with answers I never intended.
Okay, that was the third tape by Ulysses. And I think I'm gonna sell my armor that I'm already wearing, which is broken, by the way. That's kind of a no-brainer. Now, as for the helmet, though, even though that advanced NCR Riot helmet has 2 more DT, it the sneak sight is kind of annoying for one thing. But worse than that is you lose the +2 crit chance of Beast's face helmet. And I definitely want that crit chance. because I kind of built my character around the ability to crit. Otherwise, I'd have taken heavy-handed and all that, but I'm not saying that extra DT wouldn't be useful, but you know, you gotta. It's a tough call, really. Those Deathclaw hands that I gathered, that has some good value to it. Now I can get my... Eddie can heal the weapon. However, the armor, as you can see already, even though I just acquired it, it's already in really bad shape. And it's going to cost a lot to get that fully repaired. But, you know, it would probably be worth it in the long run. There's a perk called jury-rigging, which allows you to repair things using other things of the same category. But in order to get that perk, you have to have like 75 repair or something like that. I'm not sure. And there's just no way that that's going to happen in this playthrough. So I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and pay the commissaries to heal the armor, because that's pretty much the only option. And unfortunately, I need every bit of DT I can get, because you see how tough these fights are. Now, it would be great if I could get up on the roof, but that does not seem to be possible. Now, I don't know why I'm gonna do this, but it seems like it might be a good idea to put some satchels down before I go in there. If you've ever went in there, I think you know why. Because something is gonna happen. And that something just literally dropped in from above. And now if he would just kindly step down, maybe... Now look at all these rounds. If you hit take all, that's like all this weight. That's like 100 pounds of ammo right there. And unfortunately, none of it is the 10mm rounds that the SMMG uses. I could definitely use that, though. I'm thinking I might want to get my repair up to 25 so I can start doing some ammo reloading. I think it might be worth it, but that's going to take like 10 or maybe... I think I'm at 18 repair right now. I need to get it to 25 to do the repairs. Reloading. I think the satchels did basically nothing. So that was kind of a waste. I was hoping it would cripple his legs at the very least, but he stepped on 4 satchels, and maybe it did a little bit of damage, but it sure as hell didn't do enough. And that shot missed. At least I got some hits in with the shish kebab as he was fleeing, but not as many as I'd like to. I'd definitely like to melee him, but the problem is these Deathclaws, they melee right back, and they'll take you down in one hit. So you gotta do what you can. Now, as you can see, I keep trying to cripple his legs, but I'm not having much luck because he's just so damn powerful. I'm gonna have to switch to this. It's the only thing that's able to do any decent amount of damage. And that, unfortunately, is my last shot. And this is where things begin to go awry. Yeah, I got nothing. I can't stop him from coming, so... You look at that, the one hit knocked me down to 2 bars. So yeah, I'm screwed now. No matter what I do. This is a no-win situation here. And unfortunately, I did not save any time recently, so this is gonna really suck when I die here. That's why it pays to save early and save often. And to make matters even worse, now I have critical dehydration. I'm not sure how that happened, but it's some kind of weird bug in the game. And unfortunately, my autosave is even further back. So I'm going to go 20x speed to go through this and try to get things back as close to how it used to be as possible. And this time make sure to save as I should have done to begin with. So if this happens again, then I won't have to go through all that crap the next time. Now the satchels by the door didn't seem to do a whole hell of a lot to them, so I'm going to try to put them over here. Because I noticed when I hit him with the flare, he'd often run over in that area, so I know he's going to go over there. Eddie's already down. What the hell? Yeah, that was an epic fail right there. But thankfully, like I said, I saved, so I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't go, things just don't work out the way you plan. I thought the idea was sound, however. Okay, if I try to shoot him through the window, it might not work out, right? So... Alright, good. Now run over those mines. Well, he will eventually, I'm sure. I'm gonna make sure every shot counts, because I only got so many rounds. Are you telling me he walked over those mines and that did nothing? Holy shit. Alright, Eddie's already down. Yeah, that, yeah, that went really bad. I noticed there's some issue with the Gamebryo engine where sometimes explosives... I noticed that a lot in my Dale Gribble playthrough, because I used explosives a lot, and sometimes explosives do a lot of damage, as you'd expect, but there's other times where they do absolutely nothing at all, due to some weird bugs or something. And that was what happened right there. Unfortunately, I'm kind of dependent on those satchels working, because I can't really take him on any other way, you know. I don't think they're going to kill him outright, even if they do work properly, but I do need them to do some serious damage, because I only got so many rounds, you know. I need to make them count, so I'm going to pop some steady, of course. You know, I might as well be aiming for the head, because I'm having no luck trying to cripple him. I need to focus on just doing as much damage as possible. Crippling him would be nice, however, because then I could possibly work out a way to melee him without getting killed, but it just isn't going to happen. I would love to be able to melee him, but I gotta work with what I can here. Okay, Eddie's down. Thankfully, he doesn't die in this DLC. Whether it's hardcore or not, he's immortal. This might seem like a really cheap way of fighting him, but it's kind of the only way. Yes! Look at him go flying. course, it didn't kill him, but it brought his health down. All right, I gotta take him out. I'm out of flares. Yes. Now that, I think, was probably the toughest enemy so far. Even tougher than a beast was. He absorbed all 4 of those satchels. And look at all that blood. That's what... Somehow Ulysses knew about this danger. And hardcore mode and very hard difficulty, as you can see. And I'm going to make sure to save, of course. But that's basically the end right here. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.